The need for competition is a human condition that resides with everyone. I've stated on several occasions, when it comes to the plant-based sector, I think there's space for everyone because it's still in its infancy. Yet people still want a so-called winner in this industry sector. And if we have to state one, if it's necessary, I would say it's definitely Beyond Meat. Welcome to the PlantStock channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jesse. And if you don't know what this channel is about, we focus solely on plant-based stocks and companies. And today we will highlight some recent news regarding Beyond Meat and why this makes it the industry leader. But before we get to it, I would really appreciate an early thumbs up since it will really help spread the channel. And if you want to keep getting more information regarding Beyond Meat and other plant-based companies, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. I really appreciate your help. And if we take a quick look at the stock chart, ticker symbol BYND, at the moment it's at 130 American dollars. And if we take a look at the chart for the last month or so, yeah, it's been a rocky ride, which is usually the case with Beyond Meat. And we know one of the reasons is that it's usually a 30% short on this stock. But again, that makes it really good news for most of us who are long-term on the stock because we still get to invest in these great prices. So we've been talking about this since last year that Beyond Meat was supposed to open up a facility in China near Shanghai. Well, that has finally happened. Beyond Meat opens world-class plant-based meat manufacturing facility in China to accelerate localized production and innovation. And this is obviously amazing news considering that they are the first multinational company that focuses on plant-based food that's opening up in China. And to be honest, there's not a lot of these larger companies opening up on the mainland, right? One of the few ones is Tesla. So this is certainly good news. And before we get into it, if you haven't seen my former video on why I think it's a really great thing that they're opening up a facility in China, take a look at the video up here. So if we take a look at the article, we can see here that it's designed to serve China's growing plant-based meat market. The facility will produce Beyond Meat's innovative range of plant-based pork, beef, and poultry products, including Beyond Pork, which is really interesting considering that China is one of the countries that actually consumes most of pork in the world. And this is probably going to really help them out there. And as I talked about in a former video, when it comes to the younger generation in China, they're really happy about this because they have read up on what's happening when it comes to sustainability. They know what happens to your health if you keep eating pork or meat, and that's the only kind of protein source you get. So they're really aware of that, like millennials all over the world, right? Like Generation C. Now, the Beyond Pork that they've created for the Chinese population is not going to be the only one because they're also going to have an R&D capability to create unique product offering and support Beyond Meat's local strategic partners, considering that China obviously is a large country with a huge history of different cuisines that fits with their needs, right? And that's what Beyond Meat is going to try to supply in one way or another. And this is what Ethan Brown had to say about this. Quote, "The opening of our dedicated plant-based meat facility in China marks a significant milestone in Beyond Meat's ability to effectively compete in one of the world's largest meat markets. We're committed to investing in China as a region for long-term growth, and we believe in this new manufacturing facility will be instrumental in advancing our pricing and sustainability metrics as we seek to provide Chinese consumers with delicious plant-based proteins that are good for both people and the planet." And the general manager in China for Beyond Meat had this to say, quote, "The plant-based meat market in China continues to expand, and Beyond Meat has been enthusiastically met by local consumers who are looking to live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle. The opening of the new Zhejiang plant is expected to enable us to quicken the pace of innovation and roll out our products at the speed and scale needed to remain highly competitive within the region." And as we know, this is not going to be the only facility that they're going to open up outside of the US. Later this year, they're planning to opening up a new facility in Europe, in Holland. Basically the same routine there. And what I like about this is that, as we've talked about before, It's not only that they're going to open up a facility and just then start shipping the ingredients from the US. No, they're going to source their supplies locally. So they're going to support the different farmers and companies that's going to surround the area, which I think is really excellent. So it doesn't only save them money, but actually helps with the environment, which is what Beyond is all about. Now, again, this is what we've been talking about before. What other plant-based companies could make a deal like this, that they're actually making a deal with the Chinese government to open up a facility on their mainland? I think that's quite impressive. Guys, let me know down in the comments. What do you feel about this? But we have some more news also here. That is that, as you know, they have about 28,000 stores in the US alone where their products is at. But at 5,000 of those stores, they're actually going to expand their assortment. So that means that they're going to have more SKUs in 5,000 of those stores, which means that people will have more choices and will obviously lead to more revenue. And this is excellent news. So if we look at the products and what stores they're going to push this out into, it's going to be the Beyond Meatballs at Kroger, which is going to be around 1,500 stores, Target 550 stores, and Giant Foods 163 stores. And then their Beyond Breakfast Sausage, it's going to be also around 1,500 stores, so the same stores there, right? And then Cookout Classics, which is going to be more than 3,000 existing Beyond Meat retail partner stores nationwide, including Wegmans, Alberton, Safeway, and then FreshDirect.com, Jewel, Sprouts, Stuart Leonard's, and Stop and Shop. And then their ever popular Beyond Sausage is going to be at Super Target, 200 plus stores in May. And Chuck Moof, Chief Growth Officer of Beyond Meat, had this to say, quote, "Last year we expanded our retail portfolio by introducing 6 new products SKUs. In tandem, we have been able to work with major retailers across the country to expand our in-store presence to offer more Beyond Meat products in more stores to advance our unwavering commitment towards making plant-based meat options that are better for people and the planet more accessible to all." So this is certainly excellent news, right? Considering that it's 5,000 stores, it's not 5,000 new stores, but it's 5,000 stores out of the 28,000 in the US that they're going to push out more products. And that is excellent. And that just means more and more revenue for the company. Please, folks, let me know down in the comments. What do you think about that? So according to Beyond Meat themselves, the reasons for this increase is that people are finding out more and more what eating plant-based means for your health. And here we can see some information regarding that. When there have been different trials, this is one of the trials that we've seen. That's actually been several now that shows that you'll have improved blood levels, you'll have a lower cholesterol. And we know that when it comes to cancer research also, that the less meat you eat, the less dairy you eat, you tend to get less cancer and less heart diseases. But they're also talking about what it means for sustainability. And here they're talking about that the Stanford University study complemented the results of the University of Michigan's 2018 LCA, which showed that the original Beyond Burger, compared to producing 1/4 pound standard 80/20 beef burger, has 99% less impact on water scarcity, 93% less impact on land use, requires 46% less energy, and generates 90% less greenhouse gas emissions. And this is not news, of course. We've talked about that a lot of times on this channel, that there's no question about it. The real sustainability killer on the planet, killing the environment, basically, is what you eat, right? And if you eat meat, if you eat dairy, different animal products, that's going to be something that far outweighs airplanes, boats, trains, obviously, and cars. So during this past year, several different plant-based companies have started to emerge and come on the stock market. And that is something I'm really thrilled about. But the traditional human condition in all aspects of life is to try to find some kind of division. And this is also true of the plant-based space. There's a need to put up these different companies towards each other, trying to find out the competition, right? Trying to see who is the best, who's the industry leader. As I have stated often on this channel, there's ample room for different plant-based companies to grow, considering that it's still in its infancy. But let's be real, if we have to pin them up against each other, there's really not any competition for Beyond Meat. Sure, people talk about Impossible Food that is probably going to IPO later this year, but they're still not making the kind of deals Beyond is at the moment. I mean, they're really far from that. And also, they use GMOs in their food, right? And that is something a lot of people, both millennials and Gen Zs, are worried about. So I think that's a disadvantage for Impossible Food. But also they're using soy, which I have no problem with at all. But there are plenty of people that do have an issue with that, especially people who have sensitivities, but people who are actually worried about it. And then we know that many people claim that TTCF will be their greatest competition, but they don't even compete in the same space. TTCF is still focusing on the frozen section, and even though they have started using some alternative meat in some of their products, it is unlikely that it appeals to a traditional meat eater in comparison to Beyond. And bear in mind that it is the $1.4 trillion meat market that Beyond is targeting, not the $50 to $60 billion frozen section that TTCF is focused on. Like I said before, TTCF will probably do really well, but not at the level of Beyond Meat in my opinion. No other plant-based companies are making the kind of moves and deals that Beyond Meat is doing at the moment. They're pretty far away from that. And that goes for traditional meat companies as well, like Tyson Foods. Yes, they have their plant-based versions. I think they have it at about 7,000 stores right now, which is still nothing compared to Beyond Meat that has about 130,000 places around the world where they have, like in restaurants, different stores. The list goes on, right? So they're not really in the same league either. And they're not getting deals with McDonald's or PepsiCo to sell their meat alternatives. Beyond is an established brand globally and it's here to stay. But it's not only here to stay, it's also here to dominate. Guys, agree or disagree? Let me know down in the comments. I'm really interested to hear your opinion. Folks, that was it for today. I truly hope you got some value in today's video, and if you did, make sure to smash that like button. And if you want to keep getting more information regarding Beyond Meat and other plant-based companies, make sure to subscribe and don't forget that bell button. And as I'm sure you know by now, this is not financial advice. These are just my own opinions and thoughts. Make sure to always do your own due diligence and invest safe. Hope to see you soon. Peace out.